Following my, what some might call historic or unprecedented, yet fairly expected victory over Paul of Paul's Hardware in the last extreme overclocking video that I posted to this channel a couple weeks ago, he went ahead somehow and beat my score. I assume he was cheating in some way. Maybe he paid somebody off at 3D Mark. It's probably what happened. But nevertheless, his name now ranks above mine on the charts for Time Spy Extreme, and we just can't let that happen around here. So what I did was I reached out to some partners in the industry. They sent me over a couple of fun new toys to play with. We're going to see just how silly we can make him look. Got one of these and need to know how to cool it? Check out Enermax's all-new Lictech TR42 series of coolers, featuring a full-cover copper baseplate, rubber vibration-dampening radiator pads, and an all-new block top design with addressable RGBs. The Lictech is designed specifically for the new Threadripper 2 series of CPUs and comes in both 240 and 360mm flavors. Check out the link in the video description to learn more. After I completed my last video, and I was pretty happy with my results, but I knew that there was definitely some headroom here. This is a pretty good 7980XE, and I was pretty confident that I could get it to all cores 4.9, if not higher than that, if I just did a little bit more with the cooling and probably tried out a different motherboard. So what I did was I reached out to my friends over at EVGA. They provided me with an X299 Dark motherboard, which is just the best overclocking board out there. I also realized that although my power solution in the initial video was sufficient, running two power supplies is not optimal, I guess you might call it, especially if I wanted to move my setup from in there to out here and be able to talk to you guys while I did my testing. So I talked to Thermaltake and they sent me over a Tough Power 1500 watt gold rated power supply. When I was talking to my rep, he asked me, does it need to be new or pretty? And I said, no, it just needs to have the juice. So he got me over the 1500 and that's been doing fine so far. Although I haven't really been pushing any crazy overclocks just yet, so hopefully it holds up. There's really no reason why it wouldn't. When I was doing the initial testing, I had a 1000 watt and a 1500 and a 1000 watt and a 550. So we're running 1550 watts. 1500 should be just fine. And then I realized that my memory solution probably needed to be a little bit faster to keep up. So I scooped up this kit of G.Skill Trident Z non-RGB DDR4 4000. Now, just doing some initial testing here, I haven't been able to get the board to post at 4000. Right now it's running at 3600. I'm hoping that if we run into kind of a ceiling, that maybe I could play with that a little bit and maybe get it up to 3800 or something along those lines. So we'll see. Before I get to testing, here is just a quick look at my setup as it stands right now. Alright, so while I get some Windows updates and new drivers and download Time Spy on this machine, let's just take a quick look at the cooling setup just to remind you guys of what I got going on here. So this is the same AC unit that I used initially in my first overclocking video. I did build a new plenum that allows that it's better constructed. It's, I don't know, it's hardier, so it's more solid and less leaky. So there's two outputs underneath the plenum, one there, and they're plumbed directly into these two lines. This top line comes over and feeds into this GPU chamber. Now on the back here, I only have I have the entire top section back right up here blocked off. So the only air that's going to be going going through here is going to be down below, which is where the GPUs sit. So all the air is going to be flowing in between and around the GPUs. The second line over here is plumbed into this chamber, which, as you guys can see, is closed off on the back here. And there's a 480mm radiator on here with 4 Be Quiet Silent Wings fans for aimed at exhaust. So all the cold air that comes in here is going to be exhausted up and out through this radiator by these fans. And that is hooked up to an EK Supremacy block. If this would focus up, there we go. On top of the 7980XE, and then that's an Enermax Neo Changer pump and res. The tubing I just made so that, you know, there'd be enough slack to move things around if I need to. And that's pretty much it. That's what we got going on. Hopefully this is going to give us some better cooling performance, allow for some better overclocks. Just as a reminder, I am still running the same 2 graphics cards underneath this cardboard shroud right here, and that's a Founders Edition 2080 Ti and an MSI Duke OC 2080 Ti. So hopefully I'll be able to get them up a little bit faster than we were going the first time, because I think this might hopefully get the cards a little bit cooler. I actually did cut a hole in the top of this box and put an exhaust fan there, and I could feel it right here. It's actually blowing out pretty cold air. So hopefully we got the GPUs surrounded with something that was going to keep them nice and chilly. And right now my CPU is running at 18 degrees and it's at 4.9 gigahertz all cores. So that seems to be a pretty good solution for that. I've done a few preliminary tests and everything looks really solid and stable so far, but I pulled up the Time Spy Extreme Hall of Fame charts, and I see that since the last time that we did this, me and Paul have been bumped down the list quite a bit. I'm now in 11th and Paul is in 10th. So my score of 13,836 is no longer good enough to be anywhere near the top 10 right now, really. My goal here was 14,000. But maybe if I could get up to the 14.1, 14.2 range, I could think about getting in 8th or 9th, something along those lines. And this isn't really about topping the charts. I'm never going to be able to compete with Derbauer. And even what Jay and Steve are doing right now is just amazing. And I'm not looking to get up into their class. I'm not using dry ice. I'm not using a bucket full of ice water. I just don't have the time, to be honest with you, but this is kind of more for me to see what I can do with this setup as is. So let's just get a baseline and go from there. So before we start anything off, here are the temps that we're working with. The CPU right now is just absolutely rock bottom for non-exotic cooling. The package is hovering somewhere in the mid-teens. Each core is anywhere from 9C to 15C. And the GPUs right now are about 32 degrees. My settings for the GPUs right now this is kind of where we left off in the last video. The MSI card is running at a memory offset of 1215 and a core offset of 195. And the Founders Edition card, a memory offset of 1105 and the core offset of 155. So the last time I did this, I kind of had to massage it up to these numbers, so I'm going to just kind of go for it and see if we can just hit these numbers right out of the gate. The temperatures should be there. They should be fine, so I'm hoping that we're good to go. But I guess let's see. So the first result is in, and this is definitely an improvement over where we were before. Just as a reference, my previous high score had a graphics score of 14,511, now we're at 14,550, and a CPU score of 10,951, and now we're at 11,233. So if we go and compare them online, let's see where that puts us. Let's see how we stack up in the Hall of Fame. So I guess this, well, I guess this didn't update. What we're at, 13,932, which would knock Paul out of the top 10. Sorry, buddy. But still looks like we got 200 points to even get up into 9th. So, seeing as that was our first run, I'm confident, optimistic, maybe foolishly so, but let's see what we could do. Here we are back in the BIOS, and I'll just run you through the settings that I've got going on right now. Right now we're running 4.9 on all cores with an AVX offset of 0. Mesh I left at auto because I actually was messing with that before and it caused some instability. So we're going to leave that at auto for now. Voltage is 1.4 volts. So I tried lower voltage earlier, and it just wouldn't. I couldn't complete any CPU tests. So 1.4 seems like what I need to be running in order to get 4.9. But what I want to do is I think I want to try to go for 5 gigahertz all cores and see if that works. And if it does, then we'll start again playing with memory. And I'm going to bump the voltage up to 1.425. Well, that didn't work. We got a freeze over here and now a blue screen. So let's just reset and make a few adjustments. All right, got another freeze. I'm just gonna reboot here. I had tried taking the voltage back down to 1.4. Now I'm gonna bump it up. So we're gonna go in the opposite direction. Try maybe 1.435 or so. We'll see. Okay, well, everything just shut down that time. So I guess maybe too much voltage. Back to the drawing board. So I keep getting crashes at 5 gigahertz. Gonna have to try maybe 4.95. Temps are still well within reason. Only hitting like the mid 60s, and I don't know. Maybe I've tried a whole bunch of different voltages and nothing is working. So I'm gonna try 4.95 and see if that works out better. We got CPU test to pass at 4.95 gigahertz, which also bumped up our memory to 3636. So I'm going to try now to work with the GPUs and see what we could do there. Finally got one to complete, and our CPU score is up to 11,336, but our graphics score is down, and that was even after bumping up the core clock on the MSI card to plus 200 from plus 195, and also increasing the memory offset here by 5. So that's a little disappointing, I guess, but at least our CPU overclock is holding up, and I think noises coming from all over the place. The dog's playing with a toy. I just got a text message. Anyway, we're going to keep our CPU the way it is, because I think that's probably as far as we're going to be able to take it, but I definitely want to continue to work on our GPUs. So I've been at this for a little while now, and I've tried a whole bunch of different configurations with the GPUs. I've been trying to tweak core and memory on both cards. I've gotten a lot of crashes and a lot of results that look like this. So I'm not entirely sure if I'm even going to be able to break 14,000 at this point. It's kind of unfortunate, but at least this way I'm back in the top 10, which is kind of my initial goal, although I was really hoping to be able to go a little bit further than that. But if I just bring up the, let's see, the Hall of Fame here. So 13,932 still is my top score, and I guess that's what we're gonna have to end this one on. Didn't want to drag this out for too long, and there's probably still a couple of changes that I could make. I could try increasing memory speed, trying playing with the CPU again, but I don't think that CPU is the problem, considering that on this result I was my graphics score was 14,550, and since then I haven't been able to crack 14,500 at all. So I'm not really even sure. Right, I even went back to my stock original settings to see if maybe I was just overheating and these settings were just the best. But even running it at these settings, I couldn't get anywhere near my initial score. So it looks like we're gonna have to settle for 13,392 and 10th place on the leaderboard for now. So I don't think I'll be revisiting this this overclocking setup anytime soon, but I guess you never know. And I hope you guys enjoyed this even just a little bit. But let me know down below in the comments what else you guys might have tried. But top 10, I guess we'll be happy with that. And to Paul, suck it.